That wasn't the thought process. It was just to get her out.
Well, the ambulance will take her to the infield care center as well. Let's hope that she has suffered no major burns. It was obvious since she walked away that maybe no broken bones, but let's hope that the driver's suit did protect her.
For the Rookie of the Year for the 500, that's
right.
not what you want a week later.
Finished in 14th at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway last Sunday, winning Chase Rookie of the Year honors.
And absolutely loved her experience there. She loved the challenge of the racetrack. She loved all the pit stops and the whole gang, the whole game of what the Indy 500 is.
A lot of debris on the racetrack. That will delay us getting back to racing here for a few minutes. And we will be seeing more pit stops here in just a moment, as they pass by the wrecked and burned.
All right, when you get down, you're going to come around with
Silvestro.
Remember, he's the only red target fire suit tonight. Come around him.
Sounds like Barry Wanzer
around
talking to Franchitti.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Everyone in, at least the top three. However, we see Ryan Hunter-Reay not able to get it.
Danica's out.
Great job.
Dario's the first one out, followed by Power.
Danica and Dixon had a battle there off pit road. And look at Ryan Hunter-Reay. Ryan Hunter-Reay was moving up nicely. We heard him say that he was having trouble, but he had moved up to 11th position. But this pit stop is going to set him back.
He's not going to lose a lap, but he's going to go to the tail end of the pack.
And we have 19 cars on the lead lap.
Fired him back up.
Work
Stay out there
completed.
until I tell you to come in. Stay out there until I tell you to come in.
I couldn't see, man. I couldn't find the pit.
It's all right. It's all right. Just get our heads back here and just try to control this loss. Don't come in until I tell you to.
So obviously Hunter-Reay's got to come back in again because maybe they didn't get all the fuel in. Let's watch his.
It sounds as though they didn't get any fuel just by the radio communications. And see, he's looking for it, then locks it up. You just heard him say,
I couldn't see the
pit.
And let's say no
fuel at this point, but they go for the. Now here's why you can't see, because your view is blocked with the car ahead, and
And remember, we're on the onboard camera.
Which is a little higher.
We're higher, but remember, his tear off has probably got some grease on it. He hasn't ripped it off. Usually, you rip that off when you leave the pit. Oh. There's the vent man standing there waiting to plug in,
Now the nose of the car, or at least a piece of the car, certainly contacted lightly the wall there, so they may need to check the front of that to be sure everything's okay as well.
I mean, at this point, for him just to come back in and get fuel, it doesn't matter because they were at the back of the pack anyhow. So when the pits reopen, they'll come in, top off, and go.
So the battered car of Simona Di Silvestro is on the hook, and we're cleaning up the accident that has caused this caution flag here at Texas Motor Speedway.
Welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway. Simona Di Silvestro has been taken to the infield care center. But here in the IZOD Pit Performance Center, I wanted to analyze that pit stop by Ryan Hunter-Reay. I want to draw attention to this area here where they have the signboard, but more importantly, down in this area here when we go to take a look at it, because watch from the onboard. Now let's roll it for just a second. Ryan Hunter-Reay's trying to find his pit. He goes around Marco Andretti, and all of a sudden, he starts to turn in, and it's too late. Why is it going to be too late? He might have been able to do what Ryan Briscoe did, but stop it right here. Look what stands right in his way, a tire. He wasn't able to get away with it the way Ryan Briscoe did. It got him in crossways, and it cost him a lot of time that he had made up on the racetrack. Fellas?
In fact, it drops him back to 19th position, and there are now 21 cars on the lead lap. Well, the most epic race ever, the Tour de France, begins July 3rd only on Versus. For 21 days, the world's best cyclists will take on the rolling plains soul-shaking cobbles and grueling mountains of France. The most epic race ever, the Tour de France, July 3rd, 11:30 Eastern, only on Versus. Robbie and I love the hockey games, and Jan loves the Tour de France.
Yes, I do. All cycling. This year they're adding the cobbles. They didn't have cobblestones last year, so some of the riders did some of the one-day classics to ride across the cobbles to get tuned up just for the Tour de France. That's going to be a good element.
How about that?
And the Flyers tied it up last night. That's great, Jan, but the Flyers tied it up, Jan, last night, too.
In overtime, yep. All right, well, the crash scene looks a little better than it did as we go on board with the leader of the race, Dario Franchitti. Back in 1997, Arie Luyendyk won the Indianapolis 500 and then Texas. In 2008, Scott Dixon did the double. Helio did it last year. Can Franchitti do it in 2010? He has led 59 laps so far tonight, and he is currently in the lead over Will Power and Ryan Briscoe. And there is Simona's car. The IndyCar Series officials are looking it over, and I'm sure this will be an extensive examination as we go along. Meanwhile, the sweepers and even the jet dryer now on the racetrack, making sure the debris is blown off the track so we can go back to racing.
And it's not just about getting the debris off the racetrack, it's about pit in and pit out. Linda, you got more?
Well, I'm here with Clive Howe. Will Power's about to come in. Clive, does he have something stuck under his car? Hang on, let me let him talk to Will for a second. It appeared Will Power, he thought he had some debris stuck under his car, and now Will thinks that possibly it's gone. He's busy, so we're just going to let him work right here. But the crew is set up for Will to come in.
Nice and easy. Come up here. We're going to take our time and make sure it's right here. 3, 2, 1.
And you heard Clive say...
Looking, we're checking it out. Take it easy, take it easy. Nice and easy.
You want to come in and make sure nothing's wrong. You know, it could ruin your race, but you're under yellow, and now's the time to say, hey, get it right. If we can fix it, because if you're at the back of the pack, you can get to the front with a good race car. So this is the right approach.
Now these cars run low, and if there's debris on the racetrack that is larger than the ride height, it'll just roll underneath there and just put a big old gouge underneath the car.
Muscle it up, muscle it up. Okay.
And Jan, you saw they put a little patch down there on the under tray. I want to point out, too, that it was a few years ago, a similar situation with Jill DeFerrin driving for Roger Penske. During a yellow flag, they thought they had some problems, came in, took a look at stuff, went to the back of the pack. By the end of the race, he was in victory lane.
Still waiting on word on the condition of Simona Di Silvestro involved in a fiery crash here at Texas Motor Speedway. Bob Jenkins, Jan Bigas, Robbie Buell, Jack Arute, Robbie Floyd, and Lindy Thaxton back at Texas Motor Speedway for the Firestone 550. We are within 4 laps of the halfway point and still under caution because of the accident involving Simona Di Silvestro. And now there's a question as to whether Will Power is going to have a good race car when things get going again. Ryan Hunter-Reay makes a return visit to pit lane.
And we're looking at his fueler, so he got in there where they can get fuel in and off to go.
And Robbie, this makes a lot of sense. When you're at the back of the pack, why not pack in the fuel? That's what he was doing before. So as you look underneath the car of Will Power, let's see. Well, you really can see that there's some debris under there or something, isn't there, guys? It's got a big scar in the carbon fiber.
And we could see when we were up there with Clive Howe just how intense that moment was. And Will thought something was in there, and there sure was. somebody's wishbone in the side pod of his car, so obviously he had to come in. They removed that, and Bob also, when he was in, they did a half turn of front wing on his car, and now he's back out, and we'll see what he can do at this point.
But Lindy, just as we went to break, we overheard from your camera them saying, we're not sure the tape job will hold. So certainly with that